So I'm pleased to have Kim Snyder here, CEO of the API guys, and I know everyone here knows Kim, so she, comes without too much presentation. But I am going to read some really interesting bio that Kirsten directed me to at the bottom of the course page. Kim Snyder has started 9 companies ranging from restaurants to a training video site for polo players. How's that for a niche? Some have been very, very successful, others not so much. She has made and lost millions, but that is a story for another day. Or you can read about it in her book, How to Be the Family CFO, which I'm going to put that Amazon link in the chat in one moment. She currently owns 3 companies, including a registered investment advisor firm, which she grew from startup to number 826 on the Inc. 5000 list in 2008. At its peak, Snyder Advisors managed and consulted on $500 million in assets using a proprietary investment method Kim invented. Kim has trained thousands to take control of their own financial future in her Snyder Investment Methods workshop, and she had the top rated financial radio show in Dallas, Fort Worth for 9 years. In spite of all that, Kim says her biggest career achievement was in 2009 at the height of the financial crisis when she was asked to keynote the National Speakers Association convention. She was able to give perspective to a very scared audience. She made them laugh, made them cheer, she made them think, and in the end, she reassured them the world was not coming to an end. In 2011, Kim retired to South Carolina with her husband and dogs, built a polo farm, and planned to live happily ever after. And then she stumbled on Infusionsoft. Kim's why is to learn things people think only experts can learn, make it her own in some systematic way, and then teach it back to others who need that information to improve their business or life. And with that, I present to you the great Kim Snyder.
Oh my gosh. That was so sweet, but totally unnecessary and overdone for if I'm embarrassed now for such an informal gathering. But anyway, thank you for that, Ramona. I appreciate that. All right, you guys. So here's what we're gonna do today. So I have recently stumbled on a new-ish product called ClickFunnels. And I love this product and I want to show it to you. And I'll tell you why I love it and why I want to show it to you. I think it is probably now it rates, Moni and I were just talking about this before we started the webinar. This is in my list of top 10 tools right now. And if you know anything about me, you know I am an app and tools fanatic. I'm constantly trying new ones. I have a list of about 100 that I'm working with at any one given time. I'm always trying the newest ones. So for this one to vault into my top 10 is really saying something. And so what it does, it builds funnels. It's integrated with Infusionsoft, and for those of you who are familiar with either Lead Pages or Optimized Press, it is a replacement / alternative for both of those. Now, let me tell you why I love this thing so much. For me, it always boils down to the money, and I used this for the first time for our mastery course webinar that we did, as you can see, 11 days ago. And if you look at that funnel, at one point, by the way, I reset these statistics. I didn't realize I was hitting this reset button up here, wherever it was, would wipe out my stats. So I wiped out the first, I forget how many days of stats. However, at one point we were running at like a 97-98% conversion rate, and then towards the end it started to drop down into the mid 80s, and then I reset it. So I suspect as we get closer to the event, there are some people who go to the page to look to get the date or the time or what have you that, don't necessarily convert. But nonetheless, a 75.5, and it actually was higher than that because, like I said, I wiped out the beginning when it was much higher. I think it really probably is somewhere right around, settled probably in the low 80s as a conversion percentage. But not only that, something happened that I have never had happen before. And I know some of you signed up through this process. So I'm looking at the list of names. I had 3 separate people out of, 45 people. That's pretty statistically significant, who wrote me emails to say how lovely this registration process was. Who does that, right? And that was immediately made me sort of pay attention. So this is a really interesting tool now, and so I want to show it to you, and I want to show you why, besides, well, what I love is, look, if you get that kind of conversion rate, and on a product that is for us $1,000 product for our mastery course, and if I convert just one more person, then obviously I've paid for this for a year. So conversion, conversion and conversion percentage is really, really meaningful, but so is power and the ability, we're all about automation and creating things that are easy to use and save time, make you money with less effort, and this is one of those tools. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to back out of this, and by the way, y'all, if you have any, this is totally informal, right? This is the coffee klatch, this is, so, if you have questions or I'm saying something that you don't understand, like, well, what's lead pages, or, what's a funnel, or, whatever, please, please, please just throw them up in the questions now. I'm not going to wait to the end, to answer questions like you would in a formal webinar. This is a bunch of friends sitting around. I've got my high calf caramel black tea in front of me, and so a bunch of friends sitting around sharing tips and tricks. So please jump in, okay? So I'll tell you why I love this thing. So what I did is I started this morning, very early this morning, to create a new funnel, which was a funnel for the mastery course. And it's not done because I wanted to show you exactly what you could do with this thing. So one of the things I like about it is if you compare this to lead pages, so that's the one that's kind of the hot commodity right now, leadpages.com. And I used lead pages for, oops, that is not it. I used lead pages for a long, long time. That is, come on. I don't want that. I want leadpages.net. Lead pages, for me, the main problem that or one of the issues that I have with it is that in order to get all of its features, you have to go up, 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 up in pricing. And the other issue that I have is that because I can't modify it, I have very little ability to make it look like my own. Today, when I go to a lead pages, I'm looking for their pricing here. When I go to their to a lead pages form, it's become so popular and it's being used everywhere that I instantly recognize it as being a lead pages form. Okay, so $67 a month to get that's their annual. And then monthly is what? 97 a month. Okay, so for the same price, basically as lead pages, I get a ton more functionality in over here at ClickFunnels. So let me show you some of the things that we can do besides editing. So first of all, I'm in this funnel, and I have these pages. So this is, I can build whole funnels, and I can add 20 pages. I can actually build an entire website, a beautiful website with ClickFunnels if I want to. So they have, and I'm not going to go into it, but they actually have I should do this. They have like 7 or 9 different types of funnel, which you can actually go to their YouTube channel and read about them. Here they are. So there's an opt-in lead capture funnel, a sales funnel, a webinar funnel, an auto webinar funnel, a membership site. You can set up an entire membership site here, a launch funnel, and then custom funnels, so you can build anything that you want. There, I will tell you that yes, Sarah, their pages are responsive, and their support is absolutely fanatical. Every time I have asked a question, they send me back videos to tell me how to do what I want to do. I mean, these guys are amazingly great at support. So I have created a sales funnel, which is the one that, but they have videos for each one of these. And then I've created a sales funnel, which is this mastery funnel. And I always hit the wrong button. I don't, yeah, okay, good. But so look what happens when I say add a new page. Besides these ones that I've already created, when I say add a new page, this is just show them pages. I want to show you all the different kinds of pages that I can add. So, and templates. So I have now everyone, so you're like, well, that's, yeah, so that looks like lead pages. No, y'all wait till you see this. Every one of these is 100% customizable. Everything can, you'll see. So I have all these opt-in templates. I can do thank you pages, webinar registration pages, webinar countdown pages, webinar thank you pages, membership area, as seen on TV order forms, which you'll see tied in. I've got it tied into Stripe, or I could tie it into Infusionsoft, but I've got mine tied into Stripe. Product launch, sales, webinar broadcast room, webinar replay room. This is an upsell page, one-click upsell, one-click downsell. These can be chained together. In like you could have 6 or 10 of these upsell downsells, and then when it's all done, it goes into Infusionsoft, sales letters, 2-step order confirmation, member access, miscellaneous, etc. So you can literally, if you want to, build an entire site off of these out of ClickFunnels if you wanted to. Joanne says, would you use some of these confirmations or reminders instead of an Infusionsoft campaign? In places, yes, actually, you might. It's totally up to you, depending on what your use case is. But when you'll see, actually, I've got it built in here where they're just sending the email instead of Infusionsoft because it's just easier. But these things can be, you can drag them around, you can change the order, you can drag and drop everything, which is really, really cool. All right, so let's just go to my sales page here. So we go to the sales page. I'm going to open this in the editor. As I said, this is not finished by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought I'd just play with some of it so that you could see what's possible and how the editor works. Sarah, if I send an email from Infusionsoft with a link, can the forms be populated with IS info about the client? Good question. I have not tried that. I don't know. I don't know. I just have not tried that yet. We can try it and see.
Kim,
Okay,
Joan also had a question. She's saying, so would you use some of these confirmations and reminders instead of an Infusionsoft campaign?
Yeah, I already answered that one.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep, no worries. Okay. And my answer, by the way, was yes, that I would, and I did, and I'll show it to you in here that that's what I'm doing. Okay, so here's my page. So in the editor, right? So let's just take any one of these elements. Every single piece of this I can drag around. I can add things to, right? So, I want a timer up there. I'm going to add that to the page. I can click on settings. I can change all of these things. I want the whatever. I want more margin to give it some space. right? On the fly. You get the idea. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I want the color instead of black to be white, etc., right? Every single thing on here is drag and drop and editable, everything. You can add any component that they have. You can add in and modify. So for example, here, I'm going to get rid of this because I actually don't want that there. So I'm going to get rid of that. And this is something for those of you who use lead pages, you're just kind of stuck with what they give you. So here's like this. All right, I don't like that. That's actually duplicate. I changed its format and I have it now down here, which is better, right? And I look at this and I go, you know, that needs a little bit of white space. So I'm going to add a little margin at the top. Oops, a little too much, you know, like that. Same thing here. Okay, you get the idea. And then this, you know, so I have my button pointing to the next page. Now, one of the things is I'm using these on ClickFunnels.com. It's just, you know, it's like similar to Infusionsoft's hosted web forms, but they have the ability to do several different things with these. You can embed them in your WordPress site. You can use a custom domain. You can actually just change if you know anything about DNS, you can create a CNAME record and actually have your site point so that you're actually, you know, they're on the hosted form, but it says, you know, pages.theapiguys.com, whatever. They don't, it doesn't look like that, you know, it's their site. You can do, you know, they've got all kinds of integrations and things and so forth. So I've actually got this, and so I'll show it to you. I threw this up. Sarit, are you in this call? Not here. This is one of Sarit's things that he posted in the marketplace about us, and so or about one of, I guess this was about our API class. I threw that up there with a picture of Sarit. He's one of our fellow certified consultants, and you know, this was so easy. All I did here was went to Google and found an image of Sarit and just added it as an image, and it automatically put it all in there, right? Everything's drag and drop, which I love. So I got, you know, I've got this whole funnel built in basically less than 2 hours. So okay, that's, you know, I could use a little work, but it's not bad. And so now if we go, we say save, and then I'm going to exit, and I want to show you a few other things. So I have this integrated with, this is the wrong page. There's actually a lot of fancy stuff you can do that I'm not even going to talk about with what, you know, integrations, custom integrations and web hooks and things. What I wanted to show you was this, just very briefly. Some of the things you can integrate with before I go to the next page, because I am integrating here with Stripe, which I love and adore Stripe compared to Infusionsoft. So you can set up, if you choose to, an SMTP email client. I haven't done that. I have one. I use MailJet. I just haven't set it up. They have their own email system you could use if you want. Here you can see I have them integrated with my Infusionsoft app. I also have Stripe for my payment and or Infusionsoft. I could choose either one, but you can see they have other integrations as well: Warrior Plus, Backpack, CRM, ClickBank, Taxamo, which this is becoming a fairly big deal. They also have, it's not here, but they have a integration with 2 fulfillment houses. I forget the name, Kanabi, not Kajabi, but anyway, I always want to call it Kajabi. And then Disc Now or something. Here, actually, this will tell you. No, I don't have it. Anyway, here's where you set up your custom domains, digital assets, so that you can, you know, email these things. Great. Joanne, so what is Stripe? Stripe is the most beautiful Um, Payment gateway. It's really sort of supplanting PayPal as the really, dead simple, don't have to have a merchant account payment gateway. In fact, it's really funny. Big name investors, like Elon Musk and people like that are invested in it. And even PayPal itself has made an investment in Stripe. And you'll see when I show you this funnel and actually take you through the payment process. It's elegant, it's frictionless. For those of us who are developers, it was built for developers, so it's amazingly simple and cost effective to integrate into almost anything, which is why everyone except Infusionsoft has it integrated into their systems. It's kind of become the web's de facto standard, and I use it for everything. I use it wherever I can. Um, and I'll show it to you in just a minute if you want to. When I and and one of the reasons that it's so wonderful is because it doesn't ask for all the information that a typical payment gateway would ask for. Here's their website. Oops, this is Canadian version for some reason. But anyway, if you want to look into it, this is it, Stripe, and it's amazing. So let me keep going here. Okay, so those are your integrations. So back to my funnel here. So let's go take a look here at the second page. Now I want to show you a couple other things actually before I do that. They have a couple of things down here that are pretty nifty as well. So one is a squeeze pop. So if I click on this, okay, squeeze pop, what you can do is this is just something. This is one of those premium features of lead pages that they do here, which is if I can literally, this is a button, basically a JavaScript snippet, and if I put this on my website anywhere, it will integrate it'll create a pop-up that integrates into my ClickFunnel form. And so I can have really nice, beautiful, just all it is a button on my site. They click it, the pop-up comes up, they fill it out in the very nice, beautiful style here. It goes into ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels sends it over to Infusionsoft, and from an Infusionsoft you can do whatever you want with it. So it's a way to have basically these they call them like two-step, a click and then the pop-up button, because what they're finding is the conversion, if all you show is a button rather than the point is, imagine you go to a website. Here, let's use mine as an example. Not here. Let's go to the Learning Center. Perfect. Oh, bad example. Go here. Yeah, here. Okay, so see how I have this opt-in right here? So here, right, you all know the more things you ask for, in theory, the less conversion you're going to get, is the idea. And so this is your traditional opt-in, but that squeeze pop, the idea is that these three fields wouldn't be here. All that would be here would be a button, just this button. And when I clicked Get Report, rather than submitting this form, this button would be that code that I just showed you. You put it on the page. When I click this, rather than submitting this, what's going to do is a pop-up is going to, ClickFunnels pop-up will show up right here, really nice, really pretty, really elegant, and then I put in those three things and hit submit, and then it goes away and takes me right back to this page. That has recently been proven to have a significantly higher conversion rate than these three boxes. These or any boxes, right? Even just an email, because whatever, I don't know, momentum, I've clicked and said I wanted, and even though people know there's going to be opt-in information behind it, it just gets higher conversion rate. So they have that built in at no extra cost other than the price, which again is not insignificant, but it's so feature rich that if you're doing any kind of funnels that are serious at all, to me, it's really worth it. Heck, like here's the thing, right? So if my people have a cost, maybe not necessarily what I pay them, but an opportunity cost, which is something that I talk about. I talked about recently in the webinar I did for Infusionsoft, that was how to speak CEO. The opportunity cost is, not only what am I paying you, but what is the value of the of what you could be doing with that time instead of this meaningless time. So even just the cost, to be able to set one of these funnels up without needing a programmer, and to being able to do the entire thing in 2 hours instead of 5 hours or whatever it is, and get a higher result, that $99 a month, even though at first it seemed to me to be pretty damn steep, it suddenly became really cheap when I looked at it versus all of the benefits that the real money benefits that I got out of using it. And by the way, I ran that first campaign during their free trial, and immediately said, yeah, this is something totally worth keeping for me. And I'm stingy about, I try a lot of apps, but I don't pay for a lot of apps because not many of them make the grade, especially at that price point. Here's another one. This is an instant opt-in. You can put Infusionsoft in here, and they'll give you a link that if you can see it, if you put that in the email, they click on it and instantly opts them into your list without them having to go to any page or fill out any information, because again, we know who they are. Let's see. So some cool things like that. Now let's open this one in the editor here really fast. Sarah, I played with Unbounce is one of those that I played with very briefly, and just at the time it just totally didn't wow me enough to make me stay, like many of them. And so I can't say that it's a totally fair test. I can't really necessarily say, oh yeah, I like this so much more than Unbounce, because the difference, I'd say the major difference between what I did with Unbounce and what I did with ClickFunnels is that in ClickFunnels, I actually ran a real live, honest to goodness campaign that was meaningful to me through ClickFunnels, and I did not do that with Unbounce. So, and then once I did that and I saw the conversion rates and the responses that people sent me about how much they loved this process and how elegant and easy it was, then I fell in love with it. So I'm probably not the best one to give you a comparison on, one versus the other. I can lead pages because I used lead pages for a really long time, but I'm not so much Unbounce. Okay, so here you can see I have a order page. Now again, I've done nothing with this. It will take me 5 minutes less to get this set up. However, what I did do, just so that you know, is I did set up the product. And let me show you that really quickly. I'm going to exit this. I can edit all of this and mess around with it, but you're going to see it work when I go to it. So here, when I'm on the order form, here's how I set up the product right here, the Art of Campaign Building Mastery course. This is actually tied into Infusionsoft, so it's pulling this from is it pulling from, or did I set it up? This one is pulling from. No, it isn't. It is not. This one's not pulling from. So I actually tied it into Infusionsoft on the backside. So this is Stripe. I'm using Stripe for the billing. Here's my product. It's $1,000. It's one time. Here's answering your question about would I ever just let them send the emails rather than Infusionsoft. Yep, here. I haven't done it yet, but I am. Here's where we tie this into Infusionsoft. So you don't. So by the way, here's a way. What's the differential? So if you've got somebody who needs e-commerce, but they don't need the full-blown functionality of Infusionsoft's e-commerce package, right? They sell a course or a couple products. It's mainly order forms and things like that. So typically, what are your options? Well, either you can have them buy Infusionsoft's higher package, or then the other one that a lot of people do is then they try to integrate a third-party cart, which is probably overkill, or they try to do something like WooCommerce, which is kludgy. And so for me, actually, I think this is a really, really, really cost-effective e-commerce integration for that person that needs to sell, because Stripe is super simple. And Stripe's super simple and cheap and easy to set up, and you can literally have this e-commerce site up and running in a matter of minutes. Now, to your question, interesting question, Sarah. So Sarah wants to know, can you use other currencies other than US dollars? The answer is yes, but not super cleanly. So, because again, this is not a full-blown e-commerce site. So you would actually have to put so Stripe does handle multiple currencies. And in fact, it handles like, I don't know, 200 currencies. But you can't specify it on the form. You would actually have to send them, you'd have to set these up as different order forms, a different process. So you'd have to actually somehow determine in advance that this guy was, in Canada and wanted to pay in Canadian dollars versus this guy in the US, and send them to two different versions. Now, if all you're looking at is just, no, I'm not trying to use two different currencies, I just want to use something different than a US dollar, yes, that you can do. But that's not a ClickFunnels scenario, that's a Stripe. That's how you set up your Stripe account. This one. So these are your possible integrations for billing. And then US dollars, here's all your, look at all those. These are all the ones supported by Stripe. Now, by the way, so if I take this off, well, that's funny, because we know that Infusionsoft does not support all those currencies. So I'm not actually quite sure. That says now supporting 138 currencies, beta, but you know what? So I'm fairly new with this, so I'd have to go look at how are they doing that. If you're using Infusionsoft as your gateway that doesn't support all those currencies, I'm not quite sure about that part. Yeah, okay, yes. So anyway, yeah, so really, those are super great questions, because honestly, I think this is an interesting, like I said, a really interesting, since you can build a whole site basically, as long as it's not too complicated what you're trying to do, this can be a really interesting e-commerce alternative for your customers. In fact, I'm almost using it this way myself right here, because while I have Infusionsoft e-commerce, I never use it. In fact, I don't even think I have a merchant account set up in it. On my website, personally, I use Stripe. So if you go on my website and go to buy the art of, this is Stripe right here. Pay by credit card. This is my site. And then I have this because I can. So here's their checkout process, which, by the way, this is Joanne, what I was saying was so elegant. Literally, this is all it takes. I put in my credit card, which it remembers, this and this, my CVC and the date, and I hit checkout, and I am done. Literally, this little box disappears, and it takes me to the thank you page. It's just elegant and frictionless. So that's what I use on my site, and then I integrate it into Infusionsoft on the back end. So here, kind of what I'm doing is just creating a different funnel, just for taking me directly to so they don't have to go to our site. It's a more of a squeezy funnel. Um, Molly, how do you integrate it if it doesn't capture name, email, etc.? Well, in my website, it actually already knows who you are at that point. It's going to create a WordPress user for you. It's integrated that way. Then we create, based on your WordPress user, then we create that integration. Here, that is a very good question. Here it's going to add you to a list, and I don't know, well, actually, look at the form. This form is gonna, yeah, I do, because this form is going to actually have a email address on it, as you'll see. So hang on 1 second, and I'll actually take you through this process. I have it set to test mode so that I can show it to you. Okay, so that's that. I just threw this on here, and I've done nothing with it. By the way, I love that you can split test and do, it has, by the way, talk about an Infusionsoft alternative, it actually does have email marketing built in. So if you wanted to, now it's not Infusionsoft Campaign Builder, but it has fairly basic email marketing and campaigns, drip campaigns and autoresponders built right into it. So again, you can get a lot done for a client that is not ready for Infusionsoft, for example, by just using this $97 a month product. So I'm going to get out of this actually, and I'm going to get rid of this because this is an upsell, right? I was just playing with the upsell, the one-click upsell page. I'm not even sure that I even looked in here to see what. Oh yeah, so it has a video and stuff. Hang on. So what's going to happen here on this one-click upsell is if I was going to actually use it, if they clicked add to order, it would be a one-click upsell. It would add that to the order. If they said no thanks, I don't need it now, if there was a downsell behind it, it would go to the downsell. If there is no downsell, it would take them to it would just process the order and take you to the thank you page. But I'm actually going to take this out because we don't actually really want that. But look, it's got that nice little thing. All right, so get rid of that page. We don't want that in our funnel for now. And then yeah, so and then I have a thank you, like an order confirmation page, which is here, and you can see that, and that's also, well, I'll do it like this. Rather than showing you all this, let's just go to the top of the funnel and let's buy the course. So just so you can see what this whole thing looks like. Now, I really do think I could pretty this up quite a lot. If I did this in less than, literally this was an hour and 45 minutes this morning that I got this whole thing done and set up. So if here I am, I'm actually now on the page, right? This is our real page. I say purchase the mastery course now. It takes me here. See, Molly, on this one, it actually does have email address. And then there is a test card number and this and an expiration. And again, I have done nothing with this page. Obviously, I would clean this up and make this more relevant. And then I say complete order, and it's going to work. And there's my order complete page. Yay! Okay, so I've just bought, oh, I must have put it in my cart twice. So I've bought the course twice. I can literally customize this however I want. I can put links to different things like this. This could be one of those squeeze pops, that got them to opt in to your newsletter at the back end. If I click this, it would pop it up. And let them do that. I can make this whatever I want. But again, I think that, the exciting thing to me about this is, number one is an alternative. Number two, an alternative, by that I mean an alternative to Infusionsoft and or other, you know, Kludgy integrations like WooCommerce and for an e-commerce scenario. Two, also, obviously, I like it better than Lead Pages or Optimized Press because of how powerful it is. Three, I personally think, and this is just me, though, that it is expensive, that if you're, you know, running a serious business or your client is running a serious business, that the price to value ratio is outstanding. And that it's, you know, functionality. And by the way, you guys, it's new. Like, this thing's only been out for a couple of months, and when you read their roadmap, they have so much more stuff planned. And I really, if you know anything about Lead Pages is going off into this. They're trying to make themselves a platform, and they're selling templates that people create in their marketplace, and I kind of feel like they've gotten off track, whereas these guys, I feel like their roadmap is much more in keeping with an Infusionsoft user versus like a, I don't know what. I love the ability, you know, to run my split tests and, you know, and customize and everything. I just think this is a dynamite product, and I honestly do not get excited about many things, but I'm pretty darn excited about this. And I will tell you, by the way, that you know, just full disclosure, and so it's one of the very, you know, few things that I sign up for an affiliate account. So you know, if you think this is of interest to you, I don't even know what I get, but I might get 25 bucks or something. But anyway, if you're going to sign up and you don't care if I get an affiliate commission off of it, here's my affiliate link. It's I made a bit.ly link out of it. Oh, well, here, I'll just put it in here. I mean, that tells you how excited I am about it. Okay, so I think I'm just going to stop blabbering, and let's see, I got some questions and comments. Sarah says, is it a good option for us then? Because what is that? SEK, that's the Swedish Krugerrand, is that right? Is not, or no. Yeah, okay. See there, my old currency days coming back up. Is not supported from iOS at the moment. This will then make us able to use this as a cart for those that don't have a big e-commerce need. Would like to sell coaching hours or online courses, and then we can add them to sequence tags to make everyone that purchased, yep, add them to the right process. Exactly. Exactly right. I think that's like a really, really powerful, a powerful use. Let's see. On the order page, yeah, so Joanne says on the order page, can a field for name be added? You can add, that's the thing I like about it, Joanne, is you can add anything you want. So like, let's say here I am on the order form. If I go here and I open it in the editor, yeah, so let's say that I want to, I should probably put it in the right place. Here. I can say add a form input. I can add any of these things anywhere. Add to page. Okay, and then I go here and I say I want this to be what? I want this to be, you know, first name, and or let's just say first and last, and I want it to be required, and I need it to be small, and I need some I need a little bit of margin. I forget what I had there as a margin, but okay, close enough. And yeah, you get the idea. And then I say, yeah, that's good. And there it is, done. It's literally like that easy. And now whatever, you know, whatever you want in there, you can make that go into what, you know, however you want it to go. Okay, let's see what else. Clunky, yes, sorry. Kludgy is kind of a programming term, sorry, and and it does mean clunky or, done with some spit and duct tape kind of thing. Like it's not a positive. It's like something that you do. It's a workaround that's not very elegant, clunky. That's a good word. Yeah. So what else? What other questions y'all have about this, and or what other well, here actually before I am interested in your other questions, but what I would like to know is in the questions from those of you who are here is how many of you have used either lead pages or optimized press or unbounce, or one of those that are kind of a alternative to these. Okay, Molly says she's used all of the above. Great. Karen, lead pages. Darcy, all of them. Joanne, lead pages. What about the rest of you guys? If you haven't used any of them, tell me that. And if you have questions about like the idea of funnels and how or why, I think one of the, so one of the questions would be, Infusionsoft can do all these things too, right? Everything I'm showing you can be done natively in Infusionsoft. So why do we use other and pay for other solutions when we are paying for Infusionsoft? So I know why I do, but for those of you who said that you've used some of these other things, why do you use these other things when you have Infusionsoft or your client has Infusionsoft? Go ahead and put that in there. Actually, Joanne, that's actually kind of the question I'm sort of hinting at. So before I read it off, I'll let you know. So why, if you're using lead pages or optimized press in addition to Infusionsoft or anything similar to it and integrating it with Infusionsoft, why when Infusionsoft can do everything that these SaaS products can do? I guess optimized press isn't really SaaS, but okay, some things I didn't actually even think about. So a couple of you, actually a number of you said because those other ones are responsive, mobile responsive. Exactly. Some of you says because, yeah, exactly. Ray says IS does not make nice pages. I mean, let's face it, I think there was a point in time when I first started using Infusionsoft in 2011 where it was acceptable to have an ugly page. And in this day and age, when design has become so accessible, and so cheap that, you can, because of like drag and drop type stuff like this and services like 99 Designs and, outsource, it's like, I don't think ugly things are, you can get away with them sometimes, but I actually think that they create a perception problem in many cases. And here's the other thing we know. Look here, like this is, now I'm not going to pretend like we are these big, split testers. I would love if I had the time to like optimize every one of these funnels down to the nth degree. But I don't have that time. I don't have, in my own funnels, I don't have enough traffic flowing through them to make it worth the time. But like, think about this. Here's what we know about funnels, right? Here's what we know about every order page, everything, is that you can change literally the color of this button, and it can have a 10 or 15% differential or 100% differential or no difference in the number of people who click on that button, right? Which could be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. You change one word in a headline, and we know that that has a meaningful, can have a meaningful effect on the conversion rate. And so part of the problem I have, even though it doesn't necessarily affect me in a way, is that with Infusionsoft, I have not only do I have no ability to test the difference without having to like do these again kludgy, campaign statistics, but I believe based on these numbers, which by the way, I have never gotten close to these numbers that I had in this my funnel here using an Infusionsoft funnel. That I'm still like I'm starting in the hole with an Infusionsoft form, and then I can't even make them look professional or so I just think that's problematic, and I'm saying that in all honesty as a big Infusionsoft advocate. But the fact that I can, number one, make this look nice, number two, get a baseline that uses best practices in funnel design, and then start from there to optimize it very easily without spending a lot of time, for me is again one of those ways that this adds value, because I don't, I save money and I make more money doing that. Darcy says Infusionsoft's design stinks. Yeah, exactly. And I, as I just said, I think it goes just beyond looking pretty. Pretty is nice, professional is important, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is what makes people click and convert. And so that's one of the things I like here. Okay. So I'm assuming that the rest of you guys, 20 some odd of you, are maybe have not used one of these other lead pages or optimized press or any of those. And so if that's true, then what I'd like to know from you is, is that just because you didn't know it was a possibility? Is it because you don't think it's necessary? Because what? You just haven't taken the time to learn it? Like tell me, because again, there's a lot of people. I heard from like 5 or 6 people, and there are a lot more people on this call than the ones who told me they are using one of these services. So what about the rest of you guys? Great. So Christine says it's because she's new to Infusionsoft and just learning. Yay. Then welcome. Glad that you are here. So probably haven't even had time to get into any of this stuff yet. Okay, good. Same with Cindy, just learning Infusionsoft. I've built pages in straight up HTML, but need to branch out. Okay, so for you guys, what this is, I think, and still, like, just because I'm answering now, you guys, I still want to hear from the rest of you. Hello, we're trying to make this a coffee clatch, so help me out here, work with me. Trying to make this conversational, but I think for those of you who are newer to Infusionsoft, what you do is, you put this in your tool belt, so that when a client says, I need to do X, I need to do a membership site, I need to do a because again, we haven't even touched on this membership site, you guys. I've showed you the e-commerce side. We have not even touched on the membership site. So think about that as an alternative, again, to iMember 360, Membarium. Now, you may still need those if what you want to do is really complex, but come on, like Customer Hub. Sorry, but I am no fan of Customer Hub. I'm just not. So, and talk about not design friendly and many other things. So you should see, imagine creating your membership site here as well, and being able to save that fee. So yeah, so my point being there, that if you're newer to Infusionsoft, then what you do is you put this in back there, store it in your brain, so that when someone says, I need a whatever, I need a membership site, I need to do e-commerce, but that you go, okay, this is one of my potential solutions that I can bring to the table and look really good in doing it, because it's going to make me look good. Let's see, Don, other corporate clients build their own and don't risk third-party apps because of security concerns. That's interesting, because I have to say, I think that we hear that a little bit, for sure, but increasingly that is going away. The U.S. government, the government of Australia, are starting to build their sites on WordPress. Um, you know, People are starting to, SaaS apps are becoming mainstream, but in enterprise, certainly there is still that bias. There is no question. But it is, as people start more and more to put their own personal finances and things online, I think that is starting to be less and less and less of an issue. In the WordPress world, they talk about that a lot, about how WordPress is starting to go mainstream on the enterprise. Yeah, I find Customer Hub frustrating. No kidding. Yes, we did record it. Absolutely. Ramona's got her hand on the record button, so we're good there. Sure, she'll post this for you. I have a prospect now, and I'm working on e-commerce solution for him. Would love to learn more. Great. Well, I'd say their support is great and their tutorials are great. So I would definitely encourage you to look at that as a possibility. Joanne says, I have a client that wants the sales pages on her HTML site for SEO purposes. Yeah, you can do that. Look at this. So this is really slick what they've got here. Leave this page. So your alternatives, or options, I should say, in order to get this on your site are these. And I didn't talk about this either. So one is you can just download the HTML and embed it on the site. The other, they have a WordPress plugin coming soon, right? So that's actually not working, but you can still get it on WordPress using this iframe embed. So if you just click on this, it actually, so it's almost like a JavaScript snippet, the same as the JavaScript snippet for an Infusionsoft web form. And then, and like I said, you guys, like, I don't even know these guys. I haven't talked to them but I know I have asked them like 20 support questions, and one of them this morning at like 4:30 in the morning, and I had an answer by 5 o'clock. I couldn't believe it. I mean, and they're friendly and happy, and I've looked at their roadmap, and I'm pretty excited about the the amount of functionality, or the functionality that they're still planning to add. And then here's another one: add to Facebook. You can make these things into Facebook page, add them to your Facebook pages and stuff, which is another option, which is really, really slick. So, so yeah, Joanne, that for, you can definitely take care of that for SEO purposes. Many people do. I haven't done it just because I've been in a hurry, but getting it on their site is not a big problem. Darcy says this will be my next toy to use and will be in my arsenal for sure. My pleasure, Darcy. Glad to do it. I love, like, when I find things, I love to share them, and I just think these guys are definitely worth sharing. So hopefully that helped everyone. I've got 3:58 by my clock, so we've got basically 2 minutes. If anyone has any other questions, I'd be happy to answer as best as I can. Otherwise, I don't see any. Otherwise, I guess we'll sign off, and appreciate all of you. I'm surprised at the turnout the week after Christmas, and I know the New Year's coming up, so I'm going to turn it back over to Ramona here, but I just wanted to say, number one, thanks for being here. Number two, if I can ever help you with anything, you have any questions, or you want to run something by me, or you're not sure how to do anything, if I can help, I try my best, so feel free to reach out, and have a safe and prosperous 2015.
Thanks so much, Kim. That was great. And I bet everybody's ready to go out and get some ClickFunnels and make some more money in 2015. Thank you, everyone, as Kim said, for coming today, because we know these holiday weeks are just so filled with other stuff other than, working on your business. So we appreciate you coming. We do wish you a happy new year. I know you're going to be with us in the new year, and we're going to make this a really great 2015. So I'll let everyone get back to whatever they were doing. And once again, look for some great things coming in 2015. And please, take to heart that this VA group is interactive. And when you're on the group, if you've got ideas, uh, bring them out, because this is all, we're all in this together, and we're looking for people to present for 2015. Please, if you have something that you think will help the group, put your name in the hat on, just make a post saying, hey, I'd like to present, or email us, get in touch with us, just raise your hand somehow, because I know we've got some extremely intelligent people out there. So take care, everyone, and Happy New Year.
Bye, everybody.